To understand how we find the area of a circle, we're going to first talk about the area of a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle can be found by taking length times width or base times height. That'll give you the area of this flat surface right here. Now, if I were to take a piece off of this, okay, and I take this piece and I slide it over here to the other side, I have a shape called a parallelogram. It has the same area as a rectangle. Okay, so I can still do length times width or base times height. And understanding that will help us understand how we find the area of a circle. So I have this circle. I'm going to cut it into a bunch of pieces of pizza and rearrange them to make a parallelogram. I organize the pieces into the shape of a parallelogram as closely as possible. The smaller I make my pieces, the more precise it will be, but for the sake of this experiment, I made them a little bit larger. Then I made a parallelogram that kind of replicates the shape, but with straighter lines. Okay, so those are about the same size. Now, the height of this parallelogram would be the distance from the center of a circle to the outside, which is the radius. Okay, so the distance this way is the radius. This distance down here, well, let's take this circle that I started with. I'm gonna put this little mark right here at the edge of this line, okay? And I'm gonna kind of spin it as best as I can. Spin. Oops. Okay, so I end about right here. Okay, so that looks to be about half the circle. So half of the circumference is this distance right here. Okay, circumference is pi times diameter, but it's only half of it. So I'm gonna divide it by 2, okay? So to find the area of this parallelogram or this circle, I would have to do the base times height or length times width. And I'd have to multiply both of these together. But we could make it a little bit simpler. Half of the diameter is the radius. So I can rewrite this as pi times the radius. So then when I multiply both of these together, I'm really doing pi times the radius again. Or we can also write that as pi times the radius squared, because when there's that exponent of 2, it means we multiply it by itself 2 times. So the area of a circle is pi times the radius times the radius. Here's a few examples of finding area of a circle. So for example, number 1, we are given the diameter. The diameter is 6 centimeters. The radius is the distance halfway across the circle, which is 3. And then that radius will help us figure out the area. So the formula for the area is pi times radius squared, or pi times radius times radius. All right, so I'm gonna do 3.14 times 3 times 3. I know that 3 times 3 is 9. So I could also do 3.14 times 9 in my calculator. When I do that, I get 28 and 26 hundredths. And then my units are squared because area is 2-dimensional, length and width. For example number 2, they give us the radius, which is 7. The diameter is the distance all the way across the circle, which is 14. And we're going to use that radius number to find the area. area is pi times radius times radius. So 3.14 times 7 times 7. I know that 7 times 7 is 49, so I'm going to do 3.14 times 49 in my calculator. I get 153 and 86 hundredths millimeters squared.